All right, guys, back. Surprise bonus episode from Wildcat Off-Road Park in East Bernstadt, Kentucky. I'm Brian Dunnigan. We got our co-host, Dan Carter, with us, and we have a guest today. Today's winner of the VIN class here at the NRRA Round 2, Don Curtis. What's up, buddy?
Hey, just having a blast out here. It's a beautiful day of racing.
I was not prepared for this.
Yeah.
It
never fails.
Well, I mean, rain has followed us for the last year and a half.
Right.
And we have a pretty day like this, and it's made for a real good day of racing. So we're going to ask some questions. We're going to pretend like everybody listening to this has no idea who you are. So where are you from?
Osage City, Kansas.
How long of a drive is that to here?
About 11 hours without stops.
Woo.
Jesus Christ.
Most of these are pretty far, but
what would be your closest race?
the Rush Springs Ranch in Missouri or any of the stuff in eastern Oklahoma is all about 4 hours.
Okay, that's not too bad.
Well, I'm sorry to tell you, I am a proponent of not going back to eastern Oklahoma.
I know.
We just not had good experiences out there. So what about your truck? Give us some details.
Kind of started 12 or 13 years ago. Got out of high school, was planning to do a rock crawler build. Spent a lot of time on Pirate 4x4 when I should have been studying in high school and college, and unfortunately got busy with life and work and finishing school and pushed it in the weeds, didn't really touch it. And when we saw National Rock Racing Association come out, open up with the VIN class, it says, hey, we need to finish this. This is something we can do.
Right.
You know,
So how long have you had that?
different parts of it over 12, 13 years.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
It started as different frame and cab, and it was we set the wheelbase and you move the axles all around and tried to put everything where we wanted it.
It has impressed me the last, what is it? Is this the third year?
Yep.
Yeah. It's took some beating, and I've noticed that it keeps getting faster.
It's been doing a really good job holding up. We're definitely hitting stuff harder and harder. The competition, especially chasing Charles in that red Jeep.
Right. Oh, man.
Who is incredibly fast downhill. It's unreal. He's definitely pushing us to drive it harder, hit it harder, and try and figure out how to get it faster. And steering better has been a big one.
Right. Yeah, with you running the VIN class, there's only certain things that you can do and still retain the stockness of the vehicle. But Clyde has certain rules for those that don't know. The VIN class basically has to retain the same style suspension that came on the vehicle from the factory. Vehicle has to retain so much of the original body, stuff like that, just to kind of keep the VIN class from turning into a bouncer style
Pro-Am class
like a Pro-Am class.
Yeah.
So, and like I appreciate that because it lets the weekend guy want to come let his hair down and enjoy the race.
You can come be competitive in an XJ or almost anything that's four-wheel drive on a majority of these courses.
Right.
What was it? 2 years ago, there was a tracker.
Yeah, John Russell has a, I think he calls that thing Granny Annie, and it's just an old tracker, and he picked that thing up from a neighbor, and that was one of the first trips that thing made was out here to Wildcat, and he drove the wheels off of it that weekend.
Yeah, and it was competitive fast. He had a great time.
I'd like to see. Okay, so at I'm going to say it wrong again. Windrock, we had was there 6 or 7?
Yeah, I think right in there 6 or 7.
That was probably. I mean, that's probably been the biggest crowd.
Right.
I'd like to make that normal.
Oh,
yeah.
for sure.
We were talking about this the other day. I'd like to see your class on Saturday. That would open up the everyman.
Yep.
I think a little bit to come and enjoy the racing on Saturday. You didn't got to take a day off work.
Right.
For the most part. Like for you, I don't know when you left, but early
Thursday morning.
Yeah, so you're missing 2 days. So yeah, I'd like to see that on Saturday. But we really enjoy the VIN class. I'm glad you guys follow us around, travel the country.
Yeah, it's something. Once you get hooked, it's going to be a hard time to ever stop.
Oh yeah.
So you started racing UTVs a little bit.
Yeah, I last year decided at Rush Springs Ranch. I normally didn't bring my RZR. We normally just leave it at home for trail riding, and mom and dad travel with me too. Big reason that makes it possible to come to a lot of these. And we bring their RZR, and we had a second truck and trailer going to Rush Springs, and said, you know what, I'm going to try it. Jump into the stock class there. So just did it once last year and had a blast, and this year said, well, I think it's time to try and kind of dive in. So we've been putting a little parts on the stock RZR and trying to see if we can creep in there and get competitive with it.
Yeah.
You're doing good. It takes time. I've always told people, man, it's so different when the timers are on.
Yes.
It is just it's hard. You can't even really practice for it.
Right.
Well, it's been a definite change learning to drive something with good steering, brakes, and suspension. Yep.
Yeah, I could see how that'd be a little different. But let me ask you this: so you guys run a lot of the UTV stock class and the VIN class share a lot of courses. Have you noticed is that being beneficial to you in either class?
Yeah, you'll heard it very early on from a Tim Cameron quote. There's no seat time like race seat time.
Yeah.
Regardless what it's in, and then the fact that the courses are very similar, if not identical, at a lot of the races has been huge, and it's just getting to see it that extra time in stock UTV makes the advantage for VIN class.
I feel like it would have to, just being on the hill, because you can go look at it all you want.
Right.
I always struggle. I go up there and I look at it and I'm like, no, we can't do this, boys. Can't do it.
Well, and two, a lot of times you look at the hill, you may not walk the entirety of the course, but you focus on the parts you know you're going to have trouble with, but actually getting some race time, seat time in one or the other, you know it's the things that get you that you don't pay attention to begin with. So, so you know that there's a dip in a creek and then a turn this hairpin that you have to allow to swing wide for. You may not necessarily see that until you're in race mode in one class or the other. So yeah.
Well, and just like today for the UTVs, they were doing a little downhill for you guys on the audio of this Spotify. The videos will come out. You'll see. There's a little downhill section, and everybody was looking at it like, should we jump it? Should we not jump it? You know, the people were worked up, and really looking at it, it looked intimidating. But once you've seen one person go,
right, yeah.
I mean, it's just okay. Well, that's nothing really.
Well, and stuff like that catches you by surprise,
Yeah.
and it's like I gotta apologize to you guys because y'all are like, hey Dan, you gonna jump that? And I was like, oh hell no, not in my books. But for some reason, when I come off the hill, everything just lined up. And I'm like, well, I'm going to wind up at the bottom regardless. I can either burp it and go over and it make it, or I can not make it, but I'll still be at the bottom. So, but it one of those things that you didn't think that it was going to go, but it just kind of pulled you down there to it. But I don't know that me doing that saved any time. I mean, you and I talked about that too in the stock class. Would it actually save you any time to jump that and swing out wide, or just roll off the knob and then be able to turn right back to go back up to the finish line?
There was a couple guys that overshot the jump and went too far down the hill,
Right.
and ended up costing them time.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways, we kind of got off base. But I think the just seat time in general,
Right.
during race conditions, it's so different. It's hard to replicate, regardless of where you're at or what you're doing.
That's right.
Boys, it's been a good day.
Oh yeah.
We appreciate you stopping by.
Yep.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me.
Congratulations on your
Congratulations.
top podium win.
Thank you.
Taking first in the VIN class for today.
Going for that championship this year. You think you can beat the red Jeep?
We're going to see how good of a run we can put on.
There you go.
Hey, that's the way to be, bud.
Just keep getting better.
That's the way. Well, thanks for coming by. We won't hold you up anymore. Really appreciate you coming on, guys. Up next. No. Where's your son, Shanda? Up next, we got Brantley Havens.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, man. You have to take that cowboy hat off.
Y'all ain't ready for this hair.
You can pull
Or
it
you,
behind
yeah,
you.
put them back.
Y'all ain't ready for this hair.
Ain't ready for the hair.
No.
It looks like you ain't ready for the hat.
Uh-oh.
Golly, son.
Need to figure something out because that ain't going to work.
Golly. All right, can you hear us?
Yeah.
All right, here. Get that so we can hear you. All right.
Well,
Last year's U Series champion. First time in the UTV stock class. What'd you think?
I thought it was really fun and smooth and all that, and I only had about 2 hours of practice, so I thought I did pretty good for about that.
2 hours.
Yeah. Then they stripped it all down and put cages and everything on it.
There was a rumor that there was some cage malfunctions.
Yeah, we built one cage, and then Dad didn't like it, and then Mom said it looked bad, and he just cut everything off and built a new one.
Start over.
Yeah, he just started all over.
So could you hear your dad in the car?
Yes, I could hear him pretty good.
Everybody else
Yeah,
could too.
he was telling me to go.
Yeah. You did good, man.
Yeah.
I think a few more races,
Yep.
you get a little more comfortable in that, dude.
A little bit more practice.
Yeah.
Are you gunning for Dan?
Huh?
Are you gunning for Dan?
Yeah. I'm going.
Oh, yeah. Him and I had some words this morning before it all started. So I was like, this little shit's going right into a rivalry. It's not a way to start off the season, but we took it on the chin, and he tried to get us today. He come real close to knocking us off the points, but we've got understanding.
Well, that's good. There was one part in the course, and I'll have to go back and look at the video. There was one part that I was nervous. It was in one of them downhill sections. You had about stopped, and your dad was in there yelling, "Go, go, go." And I was like, oh, God, he's going to endo it right here in front of me. But you didn't. You did good, man.
Yeah, I got a little bit scared before we took off.
Well, that's good. When you quit being scared is when you get hurt.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
You gotta always have a little bit of fear. That way you don't get overly confident.
Yeah.
I was still scared in the youth class.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you how different is the competition from the youth class versus the competition in the UTV stock class.
It's a lot different because like everybody's a lot older, and in the youth class they were all about my age, and
Right.
we're not just going up these big hills in the youth class. We're just going a little track and all that.
Right.
and
Yeah.
It's so much different. A lot different.
So from the youth class to the stock class, do you have any other race preps other than, just trying to eyeball the course? Were you able to do any pre-running for the UTV stock class today versus like when you ran the youth class? Would they let you get any pre-running done, or was it one of those things that they just said, here's the course, go for it?
Yeah, they usually gave us the courses early, like in the morning, so we didn't really get any practice.
Right.
And I haven't had a lot. I haven't had no practice at all.
Right.
You doing good. Are you going to run rush?
Yeah, we're gonna run rush. If anything, don't happen. But
All right,
yeah,
well.
we're gonna be there.
Get there early. Walk the course. Do a little pre-running on the course.
Yeah.
Right. I used to be against that, and it's because I've got the luck of I'm going to tear something up, but I would at least advise throw that baby in low,
Yeah, at least
granny
crawl
speed
it.
around the course just to make sure you get a good feel of the course, and that way you know what's going to be in the ditch that you can't see, and kind of get a feel for it before you just jump into race mode.
Today we basically just hopped in the race mode and
Right. Yeah.
went out there.
That's a way to make things interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You talked your old man into riding with you for rush, or are you going to try to single it out and do a solo run? Or
I think he's
What's-
gonna ride with me.
Yeah.
But he was a lot nervous today. He's probably gonna ride with me at rush too.
I'd like to see Dustin in the what in the world? Magic hands. It's a magic hand.
We're trying to get some product placement.
Oh, jeez. We've sold our souls, ladies and gentlemen. We've sold our souls. Is your dad going to race? I heard he was actually going to drive some.
He was talking about driving some. I'm not for sure yet. He was talking about it. He says a lot of things. So.
He does. Yeah, he does say a lot of things. All right. Boys, it's been a good day. Congratulations. You finished. You
Right.
didn't wreck. Finishing is always first priority.
That's it.
Yep, we didn't break nothing.
Didn't break nothing. Always drive it on the trailer.
Yep,
Right on.
thank you.
All right. Guys, we're out. See you next week.
Get y'all some grip water. See y'all.